Good morning. It's olive harvesting time. We're going to start in our bottom field. Our neighbor Joaquin is here. Bom dia, Joaquin. Tudo bem? All right, Gina. We're going to get stuck into some olives.
Well, hopefully it will warm us up because I'm freezing.
When we woke up this morning, it was 5 degrees Celsius, which is pretty cold for when you're used to, Portugal being warm. But it is warming up a little bit in the sun.
The house is nice and warm.
Yeah, the house
Outside.
is toasty.
Right, let's get going.
So the olives are in the tree, as you can see. They're not too great this year, but there are quite a few up here. And basically what happens now is we put nets around the bottom and we shake the tree and they all fall out. Bom dia, Fernanda.
Bom dia, bom dia.
Tudo bem?
Sim. Ah,
Yeah, it's okay.
tá boa.
Joaquin's wife, Fernanda, has just brought the sheep. So they're going to munch away on the fields over here while we get stuck into the harvest. So it's all about preparation. Right, so this is the battery of the tractor, and Joaquin is attaching these two wires that are going to power a transformer box, which is just over there. And then the transformer box basically steps the electricity from, I don't know, what is this, 12 volts to 24 volts. Actually, wait, it transforms it to 34 volts. And then that is what's going to run this thing, which is the olive tree shaker. And as you can see on the end, it's got these fingers and it basically vibrates, which we're going to see in a moment when he turns it on. And you put that into the tree, it shakes the branches, and then the olives start to fall out. Now there weren't very many olives on this tree. Unfortunately, a lot of them have fallen to the ground. We're in sort of late November, but you can see there's a little bit on the nets, nothing like in the previous years though. But what we have here is a little contraption that Joaquin made. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know about this thing. He's basically made this net that goes around the base of the tree, and then as the olives fall down, they all fall into the bucket. Otherwise, when they fall onto the ground, you've got to collect them up in the nets like this. But we can see it's a very basic start. That's just off one tree, and obviously these little pieces that are sitting in here. And we can see a lot of them are quite dry and stuff now. And Joaquin straight back onto the next tree. There seem to be quite a few more in there, so I think this one will be quite good. I love Joaquin's ingenuity. Look, he's made this little hook contraption to put the olive shaker up here. Very cool. He's always coming up with good ideas, like this thing over here, which he made about 2 years ago. And it's basically an extended bucket, and then he's built this with all of the different arms and things like that. And this is what wraps around the base of the tree and helps you to collect the olives. Now these trees seem to be faring a little bit better in terms of olives, but still very sparse. Only problem with these trees is they're right on one of our fence lines, so it's quite difficult to get nets around when you've got sheep fencing in the way, and obviously stuff's going to fall down here. I'm not supposed to do this here. I'm supposed to get the olives out first. So I was in such a rush to dismantle this that I never took the olives out of the nets. which is a rookie mistake. But you know, when you only do this once a year for a couple of days, it's easy to forget. There you go, olives. Get in there. This is definitely going to be a much quicker harvest. We've done 8 trees in about 45 minutes. So, yeah. Like before, we've spent like, I don't know, 5 days doing all of their trees. So, it's kind of a good thing. It's cold out here. I don't really want to be stood outside in the cold. But it's obviously a bad thing because, you know, the farm hasn't produced as much this year. There are lots that are on the ground. We did have lots of wind, especially last night, and I imagine it's blown tons of these olives off. So there's a whole bunch just sitting in the mud. So this year's been pretty bad for the olive harvest in general. I know that Spain and Italy, they had all failed crops there, so the price of olive oil has gone up dramatically, which is pretty awesome, but not so awesome when you don't have very many olives. Quite a lot of leaves. You don't want to be bringing leaves to the olive press, but you obviously can't take them all out, but you've got to take out as many as you can, and so that when they weigh it, they're not weighing leaves on top of the olives.
I've warmed up now.
You've warmed up?
Yeah.
Awesome. Another good thing to do is pick up the ones that have skipped the nets, because as you can see, we got tons on the floor and they're not in bad shape from last night's wind. So good idea to pick up as many as we can. Slim pickings. Our fields are starting to come up nicely. This is one of the fields behind us here, which was planted up full of wild oats and rye. It's starting to grow. For the last 4 years, we've had pretty good harvests on the farm, and this is the first bad olive harvest that we've actually had. I think the first year was pretty good. The second year was all right. The third year was like record breaking, and now this is going to be a really bad one. So I think that kind of coincides with you know, just how things are. Some years you get good ones, some years you get bad ones. I'm not worried or anything like that. It's been bad all over the entire area. It's been bad all over Italy and Spain. So yeah, I think we're just going to take it on the chin that it's just been a bad year, and maybe next year it's going to be a better one. It's like catching fish in these nets. These are the inland fish, the oily variety. Now normally when you have a whole bunch, that's what you need these big nets for, so that you can you know, collect them all. But when you only have a couple, it actually makes it a bit more of a faff. So that's just off one tree over there, although we did have more nets on the other side, so you can probably double this up. But yeah, not looking too good. This one's looking pretty good. Quite a lot. Well, a lot for this year, although if you look at them, a lot of them are very dried up. They're still very oily though, so these are still very usable. Well, this is definitely a record. We've done 16 trees in 1 hour, but obviously that wouldn't have been possible if these were full of olives. And this is the tally so far of 16 trees, which is looking very meager indeed. Let's get some of these leaves out.
Well, last couple of times we did it, this field was like a whole pickup truck bay field with each tree. In fact, I think it was 1.5.
Yeah, it took us the entire day just to get from there across to like this side. I think we still had 2 trees left the very next day, and Joaquin had his pickup truck parked over here and the entire load bay was full. And obviously now we've got this little tractor bucket with only a bit in. Big difference.
Big difference, but that's how nature goes.
Yeah, and it's still going to make some olive oil, and we still got some olive oil.
Yeah.
And we've had plenty to give away for friends and family, and
You can't expect the same amount every year.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this is proving to be a good tree. Quite a decent amount's come off. Obviously not as much as we used to, but it's the best one so far. too bad we're not doing a leaf harvest. We would have had a bumper leaf harvest. And there we go, that's from that one tree. The one that we just did and the one that Joaquin and Fernando are doing. That's a nice one. So in the other years we used to get that off every net. And there were a couple of nets on every tree. Boa!
Pouca produção.
Sí, muito pouco. It's just saying, very little production. Oh well. And so that is this bottom field, which isn't great at all. So we're going to head up now to this field over here. And we've got a lot more trees up there, but those were the trees that I pruned, most of them last year. And generally speaking, when you prune trees, the next year they don't really produce very much fruit. So we'll see. But I think the ones on this side where he's starting, I think those are going to be much better. This is definitely one of the more peaceful olive harvests. Joaquin doesn't mess around, so when he does something, he does it at like 1,000 miles an hour. So when you've got a big harvest to do, it's a week of very long days, starting early in the morning, finishing when the sun goes down, and all hands on deck. But today is a lot more relaxed, a lot more peaceful, which is quite nice actually. I wasn't sure that we were doing a harvest this year. This is why the grass is a little bit long. Well, I call this grass, but it's a mixture of stuff, but it hasn't been cut. So it's looking a little bit bushy. Joaquin harvests a lot of fields, stretching from our farm all the way down to where the village is pretty much. It's not every single farm, but he sort of maintains and looks after a lot of the land there. And he was just saying to me earlier that there's fields there that have absolutely nothing on them, like zero production. So I don't think we're doing too badly considering. So the olive shaker is attached to a cable, obviously, that goes to the tractor, and it's only a certain length. So when we do these trees, when you put the nets out and stuff, you kind of want to do it in a radius around where the olive shaker is. And you want to set up nets in preparation so that Joaquin doesn't have to wait around. He can go straight from this tree onto the next one, onto the next one, and onto this one over here. And then he'll move the tractor forward, go through the rows, and then I guess at the very end we'll come back and go in the opposite direction. So this is, it's filling up. It's going to be full with a couple more trees, I reckon. Did I just say it's going to be full? Sorry, Phil, if you're watching. I mean, it's going to be full. You know, one of the weird things about moving to another country where they don't speak English is you start to lose grasp of English and you start to speak English really badly, which I've noticed over the last couple of years. But yeah, the nets are going to be full. They're going to be full up, not full. Gina, have you noticed since moving to Portugal that you struggle to speak English properly?
Yeah. I can't speak English and I can't speak Portuguese.
Yeah. All right, it's lunchtime now. Joaquin's taking our tiny little basket of olives up. I think he's going to put that into his pickup. He's going to come back a little bit later with the pickup and we'll continue. And yeah, as you can see, we're making our way up towards the farmhouse, doing these 2 rows, and we've got to come back and we've got another 3 rows to come back. Right, let's get some lunch. Let's let the doggies out for a little stroll, and then we'll get back on it. But I was going to say that there's so many people, even our own family members included, who are like, oh, the olive harvest, it looks like so much fun. You know, you're out in the field and the sun is shining, and olive harvests are not fun. And you actually realize this once you buy an olive farm and then you have like a whole bunch of trees and it takes like a whole week, and it is like pretty hectic work.
Yeah.
But I mean, this hasn't been hectic. This is very relaxing.
Yeah.
It's like
Joaquin and Fernando are like farming machines, so
yeah.
no rest.
There's no messing around. But yeah, I mean, it isn't too bad. I mean, I think grape harvests are my favorite. Like, it's all at waist height. It's very gentle and easy. And whereas olive harvesting is lots of walking. But this has been a pretty easy one. I mean, you have to admit, look, we're already like...
I think we'll be finished today. I think there's so few olives on the trees that we're harvesting them quite quickly.
Yeah. Well, I hope so, because it's cold out here.
And then we just got to prune the next half.
Yeah, I know, that's a big job for me coming up. Maybe we can find someone to help us. Anyway, let's see what happens. Right, well, lunchtime has finished. We're back in the field. We're back at it. I actually recorded a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't realize that these microphones were switched off. So, yeah, I've just wasted a whole bunch of footage. But anyway, we had a good lunch. we've had a good relaxation, and now we're finishing off the last couple of trees. Most of the ones on this side going up to the house have been pruned, and because they got pruned there's not very many olives, so it's going really fast. We've already come all the way up from here, from the bottom field, and I don't think there's many more that actually have olives. I think it's just the ones up in this 2 rows over here. So this olive shaker that he's got, it's actually a really good quality one. You can get different ones, but this has got aluminium and carbon fiber poles, and then it's got carbon fiber rods or fingers, and probably set you back somewhere between 600 and 1,000 euros to buy one of these. You can also get cheaper ones that are made out of plastic, but the plastic fingers can break, and they don't have the same power as this. This is like 36 volt versus 12 volt. It's just a much better piece of equipment. It's also much lighter, and so when Joaquin's having to stretch the pole really tall and he's got his arms fully stretched above his head, it's not nearly as exhausting. And then another thing that you're going to want to get is nets. These nets for the last 4 years or so have been working perfectly fine. Obviously they do take a little bit of damage, but you want to have enough nets so that you can cover a bunch of trees, so that whoever's doing the olive shaking doesn't have to stop and pick up all the olives and then go on to the next one. It's much quicker if he can just walk off and do them while people come and clean up the nets in the background. Now, you don't necessarily have to get an olive shaker. If you've got lots of trees like what we do, and the trees are really high up, then you definitely want an olive shaker. But if you only have a couple of trees, then one of the sort of cheaper plastic ones will do the job. They set you back around 300 euros, so it's much less money to spend. But again, it's not going to be as powerful. It's not going to be probably as quick as that. And if you've got shorter trees, then you can do what Gina's doing in the background here, where you can just basically hand rake them out of their tree. So you can get like a little rake thing that just pulls them out. But obviously when you have trees that are like 3 meters tall, 4 meters tall, then it becomes impossible to do that. It's hardly worth the effort this year. Look at that, it's so intricate, so pretty. There we go. Some of these actually look like raisins. I mean, they really are shriveled up. Huh. But they're still quite oily. If I press them with my fingers, I'm definitely getting oil on them. I think that's partly because we're quite late on doing our olive harvest, and also because it's a bad year. But shriveled up like that means that they probably don't have enough water, which is kind of odd. I don't think they're shriveled up because of water. I think they're more shriveled up just because they've gotten old. Because we've had so much water over like the last couple of weeks, so much rain, our dams and wells and everything are filling up. So I don't think it's water, I think it's just age. These ones look quite nice though. Hand plucking takes a long time though. Gina's been hand plucking now for about half an hour, and she's got a tiny little bucket. There's some nice ones in there though. Yeah, there's hardly anything in this tree. This definitely needs a good old pruning. Get rid of some of these, well, not some, all of these long vertical shafty bits, and then just keep that spread out open look going as much as possible. See, the chickens are coming down into the olive grove to see what the fuss is about. Hello, chickie. Buck, buck. Come here. I don't actually have any food, but I'm going to trick you into coming here. She's a very sweet chicken, this one. Very, very clever. She knows what's up. Hello. Oh. Wow, this is record breaking. I mean, I think we are almost done. As I walk up here, we've got, I don't know, 2 trees left that actually have olives, and the rest of these have pretty much nothing. I mean, there's a couple up there. If you look on the ground, I think like most of them have fallen to the ground and dried up. But you know, you have good years, you have bad years. I think last year, well, was it last year? We had like an exceptional year, like a crazy, crazy harvest. We also had a crazy harvest of grass as well. And yeah, it's obviously just turning out to be a bad year for olives. I was just saying to Joaquin that this is actually a tree that Costa pruned. If you don't know who Costa is, he was in our other videos. He's one of our neighbors, and he pruned this tree, I think last year. No, the year before last, and look at this. We've got a lot of olives on it. So he's done quite a good job of pruning. Really nice looking ones too. Yeah. There's a whole bunch falling down there. We'll wait till he sticks the rake in this section. Fernando's just walking up, having a look at these trees to see if it's even worth, because there's just no olives in them. So it looks like we don't really have any more in these trees up here. As I was saying earlier, these are the ones down here that I've already pruned. So those definitely don't have any. But yeah, it looks like our day might be cut short, which is kind of a relief, because usually when olive harvest starts, Joaquin just basically gives me a call and goes, Ken, I'm coming now. You have to drop what you're doing for an entire week. And I was kind of expecting that now, but it looks like we might even finish in only one day.
Está terminar.
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 Muito rápido.
Muito rápido. Pouco rendimento.
Pouco rendimento, exatamente. So yeah, this is the final little pouch worth.
Final.
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 And Fernando's just folding up the nets. If you don't fold them up, they can get all messed up. And obviously if you fold them up and look after them, then they last years and years and years. This is one of Gina's hidden talents. She's incredibly good at folding stuff. Although you probably wouldn't know by looking at this, but generally speaking, with sheets and duvets and blankets and massive things, she's actually really good, and I'm completely useless and kind of get frustrated and give up halfway through. Good job, spleens. So Joaquin's contraption comes in quite handy, because not only does it wrap around the tree to collect olives, but you can also put all the nets inside. And I actually see this is a new little piece that he's welded on that he didn't have last year. And this little piece here goes around the base of the tree, and then obviously all the olives can fall in there. So he's perfecting his machine as he goes along. But obviously when you don't have many olives in the trees, there's absolutely no point in opening up this thing and putting it around. It just takes longer. We're nearly there.
Yay.
Muito obrigado.
Tudo bom. Tudo bom.
Muito obrigado.
Tchau, tchau.
Ciao. And so that wraps it up. I think it's only about 3:15 now.
I'm
So
very shopping.
yeah. But anyway, I can't believe it. The shortest day ever. Let's get out the way of this thing in case he swings it round. But yeah, olive harvest 2023, the worst harvest we've ever had.
Oh, but we've pruned half the trees. We knew it was going to be.
Yeah.
We didn't realise these trees were going to be quite as bare.
Yeah.
But we knew half of the trees wouldn't give anything because we'd pruned them.
Yeah. I mean, these ones are desperate for a prune. Look how tall they are.
Yeah.
But I'm going to bring them right back down to about this height.
But now we can,
Take out the inside and spread them out a bit.
But now we can take our time doing them. There's not so much of a rush. So
Well, you think so, but it's getting cold, huh? It's
yeah.
getting cold and winter's starting.
If you do 2 or 3 a day.
If I do 2 or 3 a day, yeah.
I didn't say you. I did some of those trees.
Yeah. No, it was, yeah. Okay, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the harvest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Gonna wash my hands and go food hunting.
Food hunting.